If you've tuned into the news in the last 24 hours, you might have picked up on the fact that more and more people are now saying we may not get any more rate cuts, possibly one in the second half of next year, but sentiment's massively changed in the past week and a half, thanks to the most recent inflation data and the statements of the RBA governor yesterday in her press conference after their Melbourne Cup Day meeting. So, should you fix or should you stay on a variable rate? And has the answer to that question changed in the last 24 hours? Well, here's a little comparison I did this morning. Just say you look at the lowest fixed rate currently on the market and the lowest variable rate currently on the market for refinances. I asked Canstar what their nominations were for those two rates, and the lowest fixed rate for 1 year is 4.69%. The lowest variable rate for a refinancer, as opposed to, say, first home buyer or something, is 5.08%. So I used those rates and looked at a $600,000 mortgage and the cost over the coming year, and found that at the moment, the fixed rate is around $1,600 less over the coming year if there's no rate cuts, no change, which is looking more likely than it was a couple of weeks ago. So you'd be better off on that low fixed rate. These are the lowest rates in the market, of course. Most of us are paying way more than this, but this is pretty optimistic. But if there is a rate cut in February 2026, you can see that the gap has narrowed quite a bit. It's still slightly cheaper on that fixed rate, 4.69%, than it is on the variable rate of 5.08%. And there's a $382 difference there. If there's a second rate cut at some point, obviously, it'll probably flip around the other way. But when you do the comparison, you can see that fixed rates at the moment may be looking a bit more attractive than they did a couple of weeks ago, because they were probably formulated at a time when most banks were predicting that we would still get maybe a November rate cut or a February rate cut, whereas banks are now reassessing their rate cut forecasts and in many cases pushing their forecasts later into next year for the next possible rate cut. Some banks, HSBC for example, even saying no rate cuts next year and the next change could be up in 2027. Bear in mind, anytime you do take up a fixed rate, you are betting against the smartest minds at the bank who've forecast what's going to happen and formulated that product on the basis they will make money out of it. So you more often than not, you will lose. You're playing against the house. But I just thought that was an interesting comparison for what it's worth. This is not financial advice, by the way. I'm a money saving expert, not a financial advisor, not a mortgage broker. So get some advice. I don't know your particular situation. This is just general money saving information. For what it's worth, my name's Joel. I'm a money saving guy. You can follow here for more daily money stuff, and have a great day.